Welcome to TCI's DecisionLender 4 training series. This tutorial will show the administrator how to add a new user, as well as how to modify a user profile in DecisionLender. Setting up users is the responsibility of your company's system administrator. The system administrator is the person who controls the system settings for your DecisionLender site. In order to begin utilizing DecisionLender 4, the administrator must create an account for each user that will be working in the system. It is important that each user has their own unique ID in order to maintain security and auditing compliance. To begin, log into DecisionLender. You are brought to the main dashboard screen. To create a user profile, click on the Setup tab on the sidebar menu. Under Lender, click on Users. The user list will display. If users have been previously created, they will display here in this list. To add a new user, click on the plus sign. A new user profile page will display. The information that appears in the header is based on your master account setup and displays your company's name and address, as well as the lead administrator's contact information. Move down to the User Information section. By default, Active is already selected for status. Note that some of the field names have an asterisk next to them. This indicates a required field and it must contain a value. For the user ID, assign a unique ID. This will become part of the user's login to access the site. The next field is the Assigned To field. This field is used by larger financial institutions that have sublenders or branches. With this field, you can restrict users to a specific sublender or branch. If this does not pertain to you, your company name will auto-populate here. The next field is Role. A role is what gives a user the permissions to perform their required functions in DecisionLender. For more information on roles, refer to the tutorial on that subject. You can select more than one role. If more than one role is assigned, the role with the higher permissions applies. Enter the user's name, phone number, email, and all other applicable information. The password for the user's profile will be sent to this email once the profile has been created. It is also where emails are sent for forgotten passwords. For time zone, click this box if this user is in the same time zone as the lender, or click on the time zone field and select the appropriate one from the drop-down list. Enter the employee ID if applicable. Enter the National Mortgage Licensing System number if it applies. Select the landing page. This is the page that the user sees immediately after logging into DecisionLender, either the dashboard or the My Apps page. If applicable, select one or more branches from the drop-down selection. The next section is IP restrictions. DecisionLender 4 allows you to restrict access to your site if you desire by user. In this section of the user profile, you can enter a range of IP addresses that represents your company's internal network or a specific segment of that network. Click on the check icon to save the range. This will only allow this user to sign in from a computer assigned an IP address that falls within this range. If this user attempts to log into the site from a computer assigned an IP address outside of this designated range, an error will display, indicating that the attempt is being made from an IP that is not in the accepted range. If this section is not completed, this user will be able to log into the site from any computer, public or private. If you need to add an additional range, click on the plus icon. The next section is time-day restrictions. The time-day restrictions section limits the access to DecisionLender to certain days and times. If you want the user to have access to DecisionLender 24/7, leave the entire time-day restriction section blank. If you use the time-day restriction section, it is important to note that the user will only have access during the days and times entered. In this example, by clicking on Wednesday and entering the begin time of 9 a.m. and an end time of 5:30 p.m., this user will only be able to log in on Wednesdays during that time frame. Please note, this restriction is not available for users with the role of administrator. Click the Save button to save the profile. You will receive a message, "New user profile has been added successfully." DecisionLender will now send the new user 2 notification emails. The first email, with the subject New User ID for DecisionLender, will supply the new user with their client ID and user ID required for them to log into the system. For security purposes, a second email with the subject Request for Password will be forwarded. This email will supply a temporary password and the URL for your site. When the user logs in for the first time, they will be prompted to create a new password. Your new user is now ready to begin working in DecisionLender. This section will show the administrator how to modify a user profile. From the user list page, click the username for the profile you would like to modify. The user's profile page will open. Move down to the section you wish to modify. Make your desired changes. If you are adding an IP range in the IP restriction section, click the plus sign next to the section heading to add a line. Enter the range and click the check icon to save it. If you wish to delete an IP range, click the trash can icon to delete the line. If you no longer wish to grant this user access to DL4, change the user status to disabled in the user information section. Note: once created, user profiles cannot be deleted, only made disabled. Be sure to click the Update button at the bottom of the page to save your changes. You will receive a message that the profile was updated, and that user will have to log in again for the new settings to take effect. This concludes the tutorial. If you need further assistance, you can contact TCI Client Support at 1-800-492-2001, option 3. Thank you for choosing TCI's DecisionLender.